Je donne la parole au président du Ghana.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And let me thank you especially for the pre-COP consultation that you held with some of us before we came back to Paris for this main COP meeting. I think that in that discussion we spoke especially about power and availability of electricity to Africa. We agreed that lack of power was one of the main binding constraints for Africa's development, and I'm happy that it has become a major issue in this meeting that we're having. I'm also grateful to the President of the African Development Bank for continuing to champion the project to provide as much power for Africa's development and use as possible. I just want to briefly touch on two main points just to complement the discussions we're having. And the first is on use of wood for cooking in Africa. I mean, we can plant as many trees in Africa as possible. If we don't provide alternative fuel for cooking in Africa, then people will continue to cut down the trees to cook. And that's just the reality. In Ghana, at independence 58 years ago, we had 8 million hectares of forest cover, rainforest cover. Today we have 1.5 million hectares. And people depend on charcoal and wood to continue to cook. And if they continue at that rate, there'll come a time when there'll be absolutely no forest cover. Aside from that, West Africa and Central Africa are a source of tropical timber. In my country today, there are several species of timber you can no longer find except in the preserved government forest. We talk about sustainable use of forest products and sustainable logging, but the rate at which logging is taking place in West Africa and Central Africa, we would just be supplementing the Great Green Wall. We'll be planting more trees in the Sahel, but cutting all the rainforest in the south. And I don't think that it would result in any major impact. I think that there should be a reduction in export of raw timber logs from Africa. We should start to add value to timber before we export it, so that we don't continue to cut down the trees at the rate at which we are cutting. I support the Great Green Wall, but as well, planting trees in the Sahel. Let's also reduce the amount of trees that we're cutting in the southern part of West Africa and Central Africa. Thank you.